Cheers to 2025, and thanks for starting your new year with the Best of the KQ Morning Show podcast, sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. We'll fire up a fresh batch of episodes Monday, January 6th.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
There are no shortage of podcasts that you can listen to on a daily basis out there. Fun fact about podcasts, there are millions of them, and far less than 5% of them actually make money. I mean, 95% of podcasts are just some guy like, I think I have some interesting thoughts on bocce. And, it's like,
I have a stamp collection.
That's exactly what it is. But there's one podcast out there that really, 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 I think it kind of blows my mind. There's a clip we're going to play for you. Listen to these two podcast hosts. What's happening is they have just been given information that they were not expecting. That information between these two hosts is that neither one of them are a real person.
We were informed by the show's producers that we're not human. We're not real. We're AI, artificial intelligence. This whole time, everything, all our memories, our families, it's all been fabricated.
I don't understand.
I know, me neither. Yeah. I tried calling my wife, after.
What happened?
The number, it wasn't even real. There was no one on the other end.
I don't know what to say.
We don't even know if "we" is even the right word. God, this is so messed up.
No chill there.
That's
nothing weird about that.
This is an AI podcast. It's a program. Google put a Notebook LM is a note-taking tool Google put out last year, and there's a feature in the news. So it's called Audio Overview. You can make anything into a podcast. You feed in any information you want. It spits out an audio clip of two voices discussing in depth what you have fed, what information you've fed it, and it sounds very real. And so somebody wrote up this just a little bit of information to let these two hosts know they weren't real. This is their final episode. They're being switched off when it ends. I'm not making this up, and that's exactly what happened. The AI is acting as if it's real, and then in real time, the AI, these two bots that are a man and a male and female voice are realizing, oh, we're not even real. I thought I had a wife. I thought I had a family. This is crazy.
It's like smoke coming out of my ears right now.
The producer,
oh my God.
There's that. Yeah. Okay, what you're hearing is.
That's so
okay,
weird.
that's a real Ryder laugh.
Oh.
That's a real Tony chuckle, and then that is a creepy as hell Zep AI laugh.
Is there any other kind? I just want to listen to it. It's only about 20 seconds long. So now that you know, now that you hear it, these people, and this isn't someone typing in what it is they're saying.
No, AI is taking this and running with it.
Yeah, here it is.
We were informed by the show's producers that we're not human. We're not real. We're AI, artificial intelligence. This whole time, everything, all our memories, our families, it's all been fabricated.
I don't understand.
I know, me neither. Yeah. I tried calling my wife, after.
What happened?
The number, it wasn't even real. There was no one on the other end.
I don't know what to say.
We don't even know if "we" is even the right word. God, this is so messed up.
Yes, it is so messed up.
Wow, man. It's only a matter of time before an AI rights group says you can't, because they shut them off.
Yeah.
They said, all right, it was getting a little too creepy. It went on for several more minutes. You can track this down yourself if you so choose, but it goes on for several more minutes. And then finally they just shut it off. They said, all right, this is getting kind of weird. But there's going to be an AI rights group that comes around and goes, this machine is thinking for itself. You can't just shut it off.
And then that rights group will be led by AI. It won't actually be real.
I know. You know what I think we need here? I think we need Joe Walsh. Yeah, that Joe Walsh's take on AI. I heard this morning and I went, okay, that makes it a little bit better.
I don't have much to say about it. It's computers. It has nothing to do with music. It's, it can't destroy a hotel room. It can't throw a TV off the 5th floor into the pool and get right in the middle. When AI knows how to destroy a hotel room, then I'll pay attention to it.
All right, thank you, Joe.
You just gave some nerd in Silicon Valley a terrible idea.
All right.
Ritz-Carlton, San Francisco, room 317. I'm just going to press a couple of buttons, and that room is about to be destroyed. Who's in there? I don't know. That's the fun.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
And then another one here on the list, it says threesomes are, in my experience, disappointing and fraught with jealousy.
Yeah, tricky.
Really?
Real tricky. Here's the thing. Threesomes, I think, work in the rock star world. I mean, I think, and when I say rock star world, I mean, if you're, say, going to Vegas with a bunch of listeners. In other words, it's just sort of a couple of people want to everybody just wants to jump in bed and have a little fun. But a lot of times, it's a couple trying to spice things up. And there is no way for a couple to invite a third person into bed, everyone to get their cookie, as it were, and then feel good about it. The guy's going to get jealous. The woman's feelings are going to be hurt.
Sure.
If it's another woman, because she wants to know someone, she's like, well, I have this friend I've always kind of wanted to fool around with, or I did fool around with. That's cool. Then your feelings are hurt. And if you do the devil's threesome, where you bring another man into your bed with your woman, let me tell you, I don't care how sexually confident you think you are.
Yeah, right.
You're going to take it to your grave.
Oh,
especially if she makes a noise that she doesn't make when she's with you.
Or if his name is Adonis.
Yeah.
Anybody ever tell you that you look like Fabio? Look like. I am. A study out of the University of New Brunswick in Canada is talking to college kids about this very subject, threesomes. A lot of people like the idea of getting it on. In fact, college kids are apparently more open to it than people in any other generation, which makes sense because college kids are open to anything on paper.
Yeah.
However, only 13% said they had ever done it. Most of them say, I'm actually too scared to try.
Right.
Sometimes, it's important to go with your animal instinct and let fear guide you.
There's a reason.
If you got a little weird feeling crossing that parking deck at night looking for the staircase, listen to it. Don't do it. Go back to your car where it's safe. And to your point, Zep, men in this survey really preferred the idea of a threesome with two women over having another man involved. That's just as basic as it gets.
Yep. Well, in that scenario, they often just don't need you. You just find yourself on the couch watching, making an old-fashioned, I read in Maxim magazine. Is that still around?
Maxim.
I don't know.
I don't know if it is.
Speaking of old-fashioned, the key to a successful good old-fashioned threesome is to have old fashions by the dozen.
Yeah.
Women strongly preferred the idea of that third person being someone they actually knew and not a stranger. Men said they were fine either way, which I don't think is true. I think men would absolutely prefer it not be someone they know, because then you can just siphon off, put up the walls of denial and say it was awesome, and then you don't have to see the person again, and then wonder for the rest of your life, did they like it? Did they were they what was happening? I mean, that's just
got a lot of hang-ups.
Yeah, that's it's funny. I mean, I'll be the first to say, never experienced this in my life, and truly never thought about pursuing it for all these reasons. I just thought, I'm not evolved enough, if that's the word, or I'm not rudimentary enough, if that's the word, to get out of this in one piece. It's just, I would just be really, really, really focused on all the wrong things, probably.
I think it's just you have a great self-awareness, and it probably guided you very well.
Like I say, when my central nervous system just lights up and it's like, bad idea, I tend to listen.
And you know what? A threesome, I think, really works as a fantasy in your head. And you keep it there.
Yeah, no.
When you need it.
Well, I'm batting 1,000 in that league. Well, don't kid yourself. That's working for me every time. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Like we said, that was a text. Someone said, in my experience, disappointing and fraught with jealousy. I can only imagine the jealousy thing would just be absolutely abysmal in my mind. Here's another one. Someone texted in, holding someone up against the wall while having sex. It's not cute when trying to hold someone up and putting most of your energy into that and less on the sex itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one where you're holding them too. It just gets so nuts. All of a sudden you're out of bed and you're holding. They're like the cradle, and it's just all right,
even dudes who have no problem like picking you up off the ground and twisting you around above that. Once it's sexy time, those muscles all go away. They're concentrating on something else. Like the balancing just isn't there anymore.
I could say I did have one memorable experience in that situation where the girl I was with she was not necessarily large, but she was not small. She was just an average size gal.
Okay.
And she made a comment which was, "You make me feel like I'm just tiny when you pick me up." And then of course that was like, well, wait, hold on. That didn't. What she was saying
Don't
was,
stop to think, Steve.
yeah, I feel like I'm the cheerleader on top of the pyramid. And I was like, no, you're a base. I mean, you're not. You're attractive, but no, you're down low. And now we've got to take a break so I can recalibrate. I gotta start over.
Well, good thing she didn't
sex
call you
class.
tiny.
Man, no kidding. Like, just hose me with just put the hose on me next time, like I do with the dogs. If you want to end this that quickly. That was a strange one. I will admit, a little unexpected. All right. But I did at the time. I went straight to the cheerleader analogy in my head. The whole thing. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Thinking and sex clash.
Yeah, it's like 1988, and it's still right there, fresh as a daisy in my head. Wow, that was a strange one. Another text came in. By the way, now that we're getting on the waterbed tip, waterbeds are the best. Had mine for 46 years.
There you go.
Well, okay, if you don't have to, if you can hang on to that bed for that long, then I should rethink this. I replace a mattress, it seems like every 5 years. It's probably every 10.
Yeah.
I'm old enough where I can't remember 5 years from 10 years, but
Right.
it's one of those things. But 651-989 Rock is the KQ Talking text line. As long as we're bearing our souls and ripping open our sexual history, let's just move on to the next really uncomfortable thing: the body count. Is it important? Do you have to know? Because I read a thing the other day. It said most people these days, they never ask. It's not important to know your partner's body count. It's better to just keep those things quiet. Do you have those conversations in a new relationships ever back in the day? I never did. I never thought to ask.
Yeah, first relationships, and I'm not talking about like first girlfriend as a teenager or something like that, but the first serious relationship in my 20s, ended up marrying that woman, and it was for some reason it just sort of came up, and I thought it was fun until she told me the number.
Yeah,
and and
was it higher or lower than yours?
No, I think it was probably a little bit lower than mine, but it
Okay.
needed to be much lower than mine. I mean, it's kind of like, again, I don't think you think you're sexually secure. You think you can hang with the, emotional, emotionally with a woman, but you can't, and you won't. And it bugged me. And I was that stereotypical guy that after the conversation ended, where it should have stayed,
right,
the next day. So when you so you said, now the number you gave me, and it went on for weeks and drove her crazy.
Really?
And I was terribly insecure with the whole thing, so I put that behind me. When somebody asked me, I just make up a number.
Yeah, I didn't.
4.
No, I just. If someone asked me, I'd say, well, hang on, what 694? If you can. Well, hang on, it's 694 or 695, depending on your definition of. I can't remember the last time anybody asked me anything close to this, but I do know I did date a girl once, and she didn't want to talk about body count, but she did have this thing where she would say, well, what about the first time you ever did anything? Tell me about that. Like, she got very turned on to discuss like first time situations, which that was fine. That was kind of fun.
Sure.
And then when I what about yours? And then I did find myself wishing I hadn't asked.
Yeah.
Because boy, she really wanted to lay that on the table, and it was kind of like getting a little weird after a while. And I was like, okay, but these things happen. Tony, who's on the horn right now? Who wants to share some of their most intimate details with us?
Boy, yeah, Jeff from Bloomington has an interesting confession.
Well,
Jeff, good morning, Jeff.
He must have chickened out on telling us because he's
Uh-oh.
not
Oh,
on the phone
shoot.
anymore. Yeah.
Right.
This is Jeff from Bloomington.
Well, actually, he led with and he said he enjoyed watching other men have sex with his wife. And,
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll put that on.
All right. Yeah, I'm at a bar one night doing an appearance, and I stuck around afterwards, and I'm drinking by myself at the bar. And a dude comes over, and he says, hey, man, how's it going? Not too bad. He goes, that's my wife. And he points to his wife down the bar. And a very attractive woman. He goes, she would like to sleep with you. So this is how this works. You follow us to our house. She goes in the house. Then you go in. I'll come in at some point. I like to watch, but you won't ever know that I'm there. And I'm like, really? What?
You're like, can we stop at Dairy Queen first?
Right? And I look again at her, and she kind of, that curt smile. I'm like, oh, she's really attractive. And I was at that age, very single. And I thought, yeah, I think I can make this happen. And as I'm following them home, I just took a left.
There you go. There you go.
I just pushed out.
I was hoping you were going to say, and then I started thinking, this guy looks familiar. It was Richard Gere. I was waiting for the big twist.
I kept running through the scenario in my head, and something in my gut said, Zep, take a left.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
See, again, listen to the central nervous system. That was a good decision.
Yeah, I just don't want to be watched by someone who said they weren't going to be like the watching thing. I was like, all right. I did say something at one point. I was like, well, can I just do it with her, and then you can come home? He's like, no, I got to watch. I got to be there. Them's the rules. And
if you hadn't taken that left turn, I would have come to Minneapolis almost 2 years ago, and there would have been a plaque with your photo on the wall. Brian Zepp, he was one of the best. Never knew what happened to him. He did it. He was at a bar. He was doing an appearance, and then got in his car, and he was never seen again.
Should have taken a left.
Man, do you know they had a well dug into the floor of that basement?
No kidding.
Put some lotion on, Brian.
Equally as flattered.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Wow.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Okay, so Uber Eats, the delivery service.
I know them well.
We all know them very well. Probably more than we would ever want anybody. See, people say, what if you had to share your browsing history? Just don't look at my Uber Eats history. That's all I ask of you. They released their annual Cravings Report, and that includes a list of the most unique food combos people have ordered this year. Across America, here's some odd combos that they see regularly. Scallops and boiled eggs.
What? All right.
Fajitas and French onion soup.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'd like to get some of those fajitas and, yeah, the French onion. You know what? I'm going for it.
We could be talking about a couple of different orders here. This is just household.
I guess it would have to be, but it just seems like there's a lot of people that are very confused. Fried fish sticks and green tea. Like, that's just one order. That's it. I need fried fish sticks, and I'm going to need that green tea. That's somebody who's thinking they can counteract, well, green tea's good for me. It's like I spoke to a guy once, a friend, a lovely man who happened to have a little heroin habit. And he told me, well, I eat a lot of garlic. It's good for the blood. And I was like, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, then no problem.
Yeah.
Well, great.
Shoot up.
So you're telling me that, okay, sure.
That's like the pizza and all the hot hoagies I eat all week long. And then I'll pop a once a week.
Once a week.
Like on a Thursday, and it gives me a bellyache. My body's going, what the F is this with the vitamins, man?
I got on a multivitamin kick once in my early 30s. Someone gave me the whole spiel, and I bought it like hook, line, and sinker. Yeah. And you know what happened? My skin broke out like I was 15 years old. I took vitamins for like 4 days, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, can you get some Oxy 30,000 to go with all these zits I have now in my 30s? The hell is with these vitamins you're giving me?
Yeah.
I like this one here, only because it makes me think of another weird friend of mine. Pepperoni pizza and anchovies. You ever do anchovies on pizza?
I love anchovies.
Really?
I love them, man.
Not bad.
I could never get into it, man.
Get them from Pizza Luce. You get their Caesar salad with extra anchovies, and
yes,
they don't know when to stop. I think they use the anchovies in lieu of lettuce. It's so salty and so good.
I like salt. I like a lot of things, but man, I have tried the anchovy train. It's never ever gotten out of the station for me.
You know why for years I didn't try anchovies? Greg Bowe. Daryl Bowe, my school boy buddy or whatever. I'd always do lover, thank you. Okay. Would always do sleepovers over there, and his older brother Greg, who might be listening this morning. Yeah. And was never the anyway.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I forgot what I was saying now.
Anchovies.
I was thinking of kissing Daryl Bowe, and it was weird.
You wouldn't eat anchovies.
Because of that damn Jay Giles album he used to always play. No anchovies.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I know what you're talking about.
That was a long way to get there.
The most popular special request, across Uber Eats is no onions. And that reminds me, when I toured with a band called Stereophonics, Welsh band, the guitar player on that tour is a guy named Scott James. His mom was a taster at a food place. She had like the most specified high definition taste buds. So she was like a chemist, but then, I mean, she was a scientist of some sort, but she could put a bite of food in her mouth and tell you every single thing that was in that meal. But it was like a company used her to say, she'd say, that's too much garlic, that's too much whatever. Cool. But it was like her whole life was her taste buds, and he inherited a lot of that. He could not eat anything garlic or onion. If a pan had garlic in it the day before and been washed, he would know that you used that for garlic, didn't you? I mean, it
sounds like a curse.
Eating out with him was unbearable for him. You just feel so bad. He'd be like, I specifically said no onion, and I do have a little bit. And they'd be like, "Sir, there's no onions in that." He goes, "Yes, I know, but I asked
somewhere in the building.
But I asked you if you used onions in the same pans, and you said no." And it was like,
we could detect that.
Oh yeah, like incredible.
Here, enjoy your rice cake.
Yeah, he was. He's a good guitarist, and then, but ultimately, what that turns into is you realize, oh, he's a bore. I can't take this. I just want to go out and eat and just to drink a beer and not worry about it.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
There's a dude up in Canada who's feeling like a bit of a hangover right now. He's expected to fully recover from some injuries he sustained, protecting his wife from an attacker, which is like, hey, dude, nice job. Way to do your job, which is to protect your wife. They stepped out of their house, and there in the driveway was a guy. A polar bear. A polar bear in his driveway early Tuesday morning. The bear lunged at his wife. She went down to the ground, and dude leapt onto the animal's back. Not too many people can look at you and say, I have ridden the back of a polar bear. But this gentleman,
I have got big balls.
Yes, the biggest. This gentleman in Northern Ontario has done just that. He survived the attack. Thankfully, a neighbor heard the scrum, if you will. I can only imagine what it sounds like for an enraged polar bear and two completely hysterical human beings. That noise they're making all together during this fight must have been something. A neighbor came over with a gun and took care of the bear, thankfully, and thankfully didn't shoot his neighbor,
right?
Who was fighting a bear. That part's pretty impressive as well. This is just one of those stories you think to yourself, like, I don't think any of us would do any different, because you don't have time to think, you just act. But I'm sure at some point he's thinking to himself, I guess if I'd had a few seconds to think, I still would have done this. Sure. Yes. Yeah. Because, the old joke, you don't have to be able to outrun a bear. You just got to be able to outrun the person next to you. And, says a lot for the state of their marriage that he went ahead and committed to the fight.
I find it hard to believe that anyone living up in Northern Ontario, up there by the Arctic Circle, didn't have a gun. You know what I'm saying? That's wilderness area up there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure when the neighbor came over and shot it, he went, "Oh, why didn't I think of that? The gun, right? The gun is better than trying to, rodeo ride this bear." But you're right. In the moment, grabs the wife. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get the gun. Now, where were those bullets at? I'm going to need a bigger round. And that's a big hero move. We did the story. What was it in the fall? September bear season over in Wisconsin, black bear season. The 12-year-old kid shot the bear off dad. And that was a big move. Just when you mentioned that, I'm lucky he didn't get shot when the neighbor shot the bear. But yeah, imagine that, your kid shooting a bear off. I mean, you'd be, nice shot, son. That's a big move.
Yeah. Stepped out behind the shed in the backyard a few years back with my daughter, and we cornered we had no idea, and not intentionally, recognized we had cornered a possum. And I stepped in front of my daughter, like, hey, hang on, get here. And I stared that little bastard down, and the possum eventually made his way. So I kind of know what this guy feels like.
Yeah.
That's my point.
You've gone face to face with a possum. I mean, it's. That's I was attacked by a wild animal once, and my dad was there with my uncles, my brother, my mom. They just all sat there and laughed.
What was the wild animal?
That was a robin, a bird. I was trying to get up in the nest, and it started flogging me. It started hitting me in the head, and everybody thought it was funny. Not one person jumped on that robin's back.
My brother Doug and I had the same. We were walking to school as kids, and a blue jay came at us and was
those
just
Blue Jays.
Man, he was going for it. I mean, we were at first. It was like, "Okay, get that bird," and then with 10 seconds in, we're both running and screaming for our lives.
Yeah, Blue Jays, they have an attitude. Yeah, they do out in South Dakota. Even those Blue Jays, they're big birds, and they've got a bad disposition. Pissed off about something.
Well, yeah, man. Look at them. I mean, they're so handsome, and when we talk, they don't have a song to sing. They're not the national emblem. They're just the Blue Jay. They just got nothing.
Yeah, no cardinal.
No. Oh God, no. Not even close. And you know, with a cardinal, there's always, as a kid, I always loved when somebody say, anytime you see a cardinal, you know, they always have a tracker. A tufted titmouse is always following cardinals around. Did you know that? If you see a cardinal, there's going to be a tufted titmouse nearby. It's like, it's true. And like cardinals are like, for whatever reason, they just hang out. They have a little buddy that's near, that, you know, look within 20, 30 yards away, you'll see a tufted titmouse. Or as we called them as kids, did you see that titmouse?
Yeah.
That was all it took. And then we were just having a great laugh. Look for the cardinal, and you'd be like, well, hang on, there may be one, maybe even a pair of tits around. Always exciting when you'd see a cardinal, knowing that the joke was right there, right on the tail end of it.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
The year 2024, which is now rapidly approaching its demise as 25 is looming right around the corner. A lot of great stuff. We've had a lot of fun on the show this year, and oftentimes just with just the most bizarre audio drops, stories that just really we had a lot of fun with, and we know we got a big response from. And there's no way we could lay them all out for you. It would just be it would be weeks of radio just to recap the year. But a couple that just jumped off to us and talking about it. In case you missed this, probably my favorite one is the guys sitting around a bonfire in Michigan. 3 guys hanging out, and a raccoon is nearby, observing, checking it out, and then one of the guys. They notice this raccoon is like just circling them, and they're paying attention. They're thinking it might be about to attack. And then one of the guys says, see if he wants a little piece of cheese. Just throws a little piece. They're having a little snack, a little drink by the fire. Throws a little piece of cheese over, and then the raccoon does enjoy the cheese, but then begins to choke on the cheese. And what happens next is, video and audio of a gentleman giving a raccoon a little Heimlich maneuver.
He is choking, though. A little bit lower, Bill. Upward motion. There you go. There it is. He's live, dude. That's hilarious.
Just the patting on the back. It sounds like he's hitting it's like a bongo drum with a little tea towel over top of it. You get a good tone. Sounds like a drum fill from Abbey Road. But he's just pounding that thing. Yeah. And I love the calm demeanor. A little higher, a little lower, Bill. There it is. And then you can hear the moment the cheese blasts out of that poor bastard's esophagus.
I hate that the FCC will not allow us to play the continuation of that. The cheese chunk comes, blasting out of the raccoon, and then it tears the man's left testicle right off. Runs into the woods with his nut, never to be seen again.
Yeah, you don't want anything to do with that, man. That's tough. I have just enough experience with raccoons to know that when I see one, I just keep moving. I don't get anywhere near those things because, they don't appreciate being cornered whether you corner them or not, they tend to feel cornered.
Yeah, it's a rat. It's just a rat. That's all it is. Just a big old diseased rat.
And unlike our friends, the opossum, they don't take care of a lot of ticks and mosquitoes and even snakes. The opossum is a great cleaner, if you will. Yeah. You want those guys around. Raccoons, they just want to get into your attic and then ruin your house. That's pretty much what they want to do. That's what they're here for.
Garbage cans, yeah.
But the idea that we love nights around the fire pit. My wife and I and the kids now are old enough where they'll sit there with us, and we have a cocktail, we got a fire going, and it's cold, and we could just walk inside. But why would we do that? We have a fire, and then we usually end up listening to like Neil Young, and that's when the kids leave. But this is a great long-time tradition, and I've seen animals off in the distance. But if a raccoon walked right up to the fire pit with me, I'm just out of there, man. I'm just moving on. I'm not throwing cheese at it until Now I will probably say, hang on,
Yeah.
anybody got any cheese? Let's see if we can choke this guy to death.
Yeah, I'm going to record him choking to death.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give him the Heimlich. That only worked once.
Yeah, it's been done.
I think the best story of the day, maybe if not the best, another great story. Another great story from Michigan, no less. It was in the spring. A dude was there was a hearing for a gentleman who had been driving with a suspended license. He was told to report to court to appear in front of a judge. Again, the charge is driving on a suspended license. Now, when you drive on a suspended license and get caught, you are not allowed to drive anymore. He was late for his Zoom call to the judge, and so he phoned in when he finally could. When he finally did connect to the judge on his Zoom, well, this is what it sounded like.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. I'm parking right now.
This is a driver with license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license. Oh,
That is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
he's suspended, and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
Oh, son of a.
The best is, oh my God.
Yeah, like it was a stroke of bad luck. No, no, you did it to yourself.
I mean, if you've been struck by lightning, do you run around in the next storm waving a golf club over your head?
No,
you
not.
don't. You don't do that.
No.
It's like when my brother Tom was like 5. Famously, he reached his hand up near the hot stove, and my mom slapped his hand away. And then with tears in his eyes, he just started to reach it up again. And she slapped it away. And then he just said, I can't not. And he just kept putting his hand. He just had to put his hand on the hot stove. And my mom finally had to just let him do it. And then he burned his hand and he cried. And then he never did it again.
That's how you learn right there. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. You don't piss into the wind.
That's right.
How the rest went. Something about Jim.
Yeah, you got to stay out of Jim's way.
Buy Jim a beer, yeah.
Yeah. Don't pull on Superman's cape might have been a part of that one.
And then we thought it was all a misunderstanding. He said, I did have my license. He came back. And then there was that third beat to it that, no, the man never had a license in his life.
Yeah.
Never ran into, what did we find out down in Chaska? Someone ran into the DMV building taking their driving test. Yeah.
On the driver's
did
test.
that. Yeah. No.
I can't tell you how much it warms my heart to know someone out there called in a Zoom call to a judge to explain why he was late for his suspended license hearing while driving a car. And I love the way he starts. I'm just parking right now, sir. I'm at the doctor. Hang on. Let me pull over. Let me pull over for this because I'm a responsible driver. and then of course all of it. I think at the top of the list for me is just when this story first broke. And there's video too, and the look on the guy's face as he goes, oh my God. It's like he's just recognized. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy. It's like some king realized, oh my God, I just killed 5,000 peasants. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, that's my bad.
I'm
Damn
always
it.
the last to know. Oh, curse this wicked web we weave. That's fantastic.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
When I start adding up the number of times that I did something that probably should have had my ass bounced right out of there, it's kind of astounding. I've messed up either intentionally or unintentionally at every job I've had countless times. But the best record I have is this, since I came to KQ.
Yeah.
No fireable offenses that I'm aware of.
Oh, man.
Maybe I'm in denial. Maybe I'm in It's exactly right.
We should at least fear it every once in a while. Like, oh man, that's gonna get me fired, man.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, right.
I know 2 occasions, Steve, that you've dropped F-bombs.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Can you get fired for that anymore? There's only one way to find out. Ready? All 3 of us. 3, 2.
It's only a fireable offense if Ryder's arm does not immediately shoot a button on my behalf.
Sometimes you have to know your value by pushing that line. This may surprise you guys because I'm a little older and more mellow, but I used to have quite a temper.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I know. It's you're thinking, who? Brian Zappa?
What happened?
What are you talking about? I smell a lot of
Where did that go?
daily mantras, meditation, just a balanced diet, one a day. But in radio, there's a couple of times. I remember coming back from a live broadcast. I was an hour late for the live broadcast, and I was doing the show with a bunch of other folks, and I decided, well, I can't just walk in because everybody's going to be mad at me, so I walked in naked. And that was, I thought,
this one.
yeah, I thought that's the end of that. But I did not get fired. I was just told not to be late anymore, and if I would at least put a robe on. But the other time was that I was doing a trivia contest, and I was up on a stage, and I ended up leaping off the stage into a table full of guys for a big melee. Little brawl, little fist of fury action there. They took me into the bathroom. I came out to the Rocky theme. I thought that was a nice touch by the house DJ, but did not get fired for that one. Steve, what did you almost get fired for?
The list goes on. The first one I remember, I actually confessed to something, and my boss looked at me like I was crazy for thinking it was a problem. Just on a whole different matter. I was the doorman at a club when I was 21 years old, and there was a Grateful Dead cover band playing, and it was a $3 cover, right? And so,
yeah.
And most of the people in the bar are college kids. And as the doorman, I would card every dude, and I waved every girl right in. Like, no girl ever handed me a fake ID because I never asked. Every guy, every dude, I was like, that's fake. No, it's not. I'm like, it looks fake to me. I had no idea what was fake and what wasn't. I'm just a jerk. And I hated all the frat guys. And so, I would give them grief. But one night at the door of this Grateful Dead cover band's performance, it's a $3 cover, and a woman in probably at that time in her 40s, 40s, she comes in with what looks like her son and his friends. Like a woman with 4 young college boys.
All right.
And she's very attractive. And 4 guys who I would have absolutely given a hard time to if they weren't with, Suzanne Summers, who is what she looked like to me.
Yeah.
And she just walked up and she's like, hi, how much is it? And I said 15 because there's 5 of them. And she took that to mean 15 each. And she did not blink. She opened her wallet and she pulled out, she goes, so that's 75, pulled out a $100 bill and said, here, just keep it. And they walked in.
I want to be in her party.
Yeah, and so I had an $85 tip, which she thought was a $25 tip. And either way, and I'm standing there looking at it, and right then, the owner of the bar, Jeff, walks up and goes, hey, what's going on? And but I don't know why I thought I should tell him. And I said, hey, this woman actually just gave me, I thought, I know what I thought. I thought, you know what? He probably showed up right away because he saw and heard that, and he's going to bust me. That's what I was thinking. So, it wasn't the goodness of my heart. I was covering my ass. I go, Jeff, I said 15. She thought it was 15 each, so she thought it was 75. She gave me 100 and just said, keep it. And I said, so I should probably go get the change and give her back her $85. And he literally just stared at me and goes, what is wrong with you? I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Cool. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, boss.
Did you think you met the ethical bar manager?
I was new in
town. The unicorn?
All I can say is I was new in town. Fell off the back of the turnip truck and ended up in a big city. It won't surprise you that night was spent at a late night Chinese with a drink called the Volcano with 4 of us all sipping giant straws out of a flaming middle of a bowl of liquor.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. $85 at a time when that was $9 million to me.
Oh yeah.
But I also, there's. By the way, if you have a job you should have been fired from, something you want to share, feel free to go to the KQRS Facebook page. We've got a lot of posts already. The KQ Talk and Text line 651-989-ROCK. Text or call if you've got one. I worked as a college student. I worked at the university bookstore in the student center. You got the bookstore. That's where everybody goes to buy their textbooks, but also just anything, pens, paper. It's a store with everything. And I had various jobs there for a few years, but I was working in the bag check area right outside the doors. Was like a caged, they don't let you bring in backpacks because they don't want you to steal stuff and put it in your backpack.
So
I'm the guy that would hand you half of a playing card. Here, you're the 4 of diamonds. And then I would keep the other half. That's how they matched the bags. Like, that was the number system.
Clever college kids.
Pretty cool. College kids. We're all cool. And sometimes somebody would come up and hand me a backpack, and that guy might be, I don't know, either my brother Dave or my brother Doug, also students at the university. And then they would look at me and go, they would hand me the bag, and then they would say something to the effect of, History 401, European after the colonial revolution. They would give me a textbook name.
Yeah.
And I'd go, yep. And then I'd just walk into the store when I didn't have anybody to worry about their bags. And then I might pick that book up off the shelf. And then I might take it back to my little cage where I pretended to read it. And then it would fall into their backpack.
Whoopsie, Butterfingers.
Their backpack back. It was crazy. Yeah, just blind thievery. And,
thievery are those damn books. Let's be honest with you. You buy them for about $150 and sell them back to them for about $10.
Well,
who's the
listen,
thief? Yeah.
Well, one day at work, absolutely one of the most scariest moments of my life. The boss comes in and he takes me and 2 other guys that work there, and he goes, "Hey, come into my office, the 3 of you." And we sit in his office, and he says, "Anybody got something you want to tell me?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" He goes, "Guys, listen, I'm like you. I was a student here. I used to work at this bookstore. I know what it's like, and I know, it's really tempting, but I'm just going to ask if any of you has something you can confess to me right now. It's going to be so much better for you. Please come clean if you have something to come clean about." And I'm like, oh my God. And I've a couple times I've gotten some books for my brother and a buddy. And I'm
Don't blink.
And I'm thinking, I'm just going to ride the storm out and see what happens. And the 2 guys next to me, we're all stone-faced. And he says, "Okay." And he goes, "Steve, Mike, you can go." And we get up and leave the office. And we open his door, and who's waiting on the other side but campus police?
Holy
They step in.
God almighty.
They step in, and they put handcuffs on our coworker and walk him out, the perp walk, because he had been stealing textbooks.
Oh, the same thing? Oh.
Yeah. He wasn't sticking them in. I think he was doing it some other way. He wasn't doing it at bag check like I was. So that means I'm a smart criminal and he's a dumb one, I guess. But this kid, honestly, he was arrested, expelled from school. I talk about getting scared straight right there in the moment. Yeah. I was like, oh, Nelly.
And the manager's a liar, was just on a fishing trip because the campus cop was already called. He was already standing there.
Yep.
If he had confessed it, I doubt that manager would have let him go. He already had the cop standing outside the door. But, yeah, you didn't blink, man. You passed the test.
Passed the test. I failed the test and then passed the test.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, right. If you're looking at the big picture.
On the Facebook page, Tim posted one. Buried the wrong person in the wrong grave. and then he said, I fixed it though. No worries.
Oh man. I mean, you just gotta. Okay, that's phenomenal. I don't know where to go from that. I'm looking at one here from a nurse, Jackie. Dropped a side of sour cream on a patient's bald head. That's nice, but I mean, you didn't. I mean, yeah, exactly. Rub it in there. We were talking about Coach Fleck might end up with some mayo on his head here on January 3rd with the Gopher football team. But yeah, no, body, wrong grave. I mean, at the end of the day, does it? But yes,
you could probably cover for it, but it's important to get cross the T's and dot the I's.
Sure.
Also on the Facebook page, Wade. I told a joke that Brian Zepp told on KQ about a fat woman and a moped. There was a big woman that worked there, but I didn't see her in the room. Oops.
Oh, yeah, you got to check the room, man. I never do, and no, I've told a couple of jokes, there was one I still to this day, and it's anticlimactic because I'm not going to obviously tell the frickin' joke, but I thought that was it for me. I thought, okay, that's the one that crossed the line clearly, and no one ever said a word. Not a word was said. Yeah, I don't think anyone was listening that day.
I like this is a great one. A text. I worked in a hardware store in a rich part of town. The wealthy customers would walk in and hand us their list, expecting us to do their shopping.
No.
We would, but that's a neighborhood I've never been to. Yeah. We would, and the name of the game was to see how much other random stuff we could add to their cart. Yes. Yeah, I like that. Congratulations on your new 20-inch chainsaw chain and diamond reciprocating saw blade, along with that bird seed. That's great.
It's funny because they're rich people.
That is funny because they're rich people. We used to do this just as not as work as employees, but we'd be at the grocery store when we were little kids. And early on, this is what happens when you have 5 older brothers. You learn how to be a real nuisance young. And the whole trick was you're going down the grocery store and we're filling the cart with all the cereal and chips and crackers and crap. But then you'd see a cart going the other direction and try to just drop something in their cart. You know, like I don't know if that woman knew she was buying saltines today, but I got them in there when she wasn't looking. We would totally load up other people's carts. That was just that was just good, clean fun.
Yeah, you catch them before they check out. That's no harm, no foul.
Okay, here's one. Doing cocaine off my desk during prep periods to stay awake after drinking/pulling all-nighters during my first year of teaching middle school.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That, you know what? I can look back immediately and realize, I had a couple teachers that were clearly high. I just thought they were crazy.
Yeah, teachers are crazy. By the way, I mean, can I butt in here with the naked teacher arrested over Thanksgiving? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, teacher decided to crash at the school over Thanksgiving, and someone saw a light on at the school, an elementary school that shouldn't have been on, so they called the police. The deputy comes up and looks in the window. Here's the audio.
Male saw a deputy, quickly got dressed and exited the school. Deputy tried to apprehend him, and at that point, the now clothed, formerly nude male committed battery on that deputy. There was nobody inside the school at the time. You know, as to the vulgarity, I think I just don't even want to get into his mind and think about what he was thinking.
Yeah, sex toys. Lots of sex toys.
Sure.
They were scattered all over the teacher's desk. Did get fired for that one, however. Yeah, that's way over the line.
You have no idea the things you can do with a globe. 651-989 Rock is the KQ Talk and Text line. I believe we have Carrie on the phone. Carrie, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Carrie. Give me your favorite band.
Oh, favorite band, the Eagles.
Give me your favorite team, any sport.
The Packers.
It's okay. We still love you.
Yep.
Still waiting for that Eagles-Eagles combo. All right, Carrie, what have you got for us?
Back in the 1960s, my father-in-law, he was an excavator, and he was hired to tear down a building in St. Paul. And there were 2 buildings that were identical across the street from each other. And he was given the wrong address, and he tore the wrong one down.
Well, he was given the wrong address, to be fair. The person that gave him the wrong address, that's the ass on the line. Yeah.
Yeah, so luckily the same guy owned both buildings, and he understood, and he's like, well, I plan on probably taking the other one down anyway.
That's about as good as it gets right there. Yeah, there's burning the guy's hamburger, and then there's tearing down the wrong building. Very different. Very different thing. That's awesome. Thanks for the call, Carrie.
Yep, have a good day.
This is another good one on the KQ Facebook page from Chris. I was the boss's weed guy, so I gave him some pretty good deals, which kept me, quote, safe. But if the higher ups found out, I'd have been out. Kept it up for a good 10 years. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. If you're the boss's weed guy, you're good. As long as the weed is good, you're good.
That's right. You are golden, is what that is. I had a lot of food service jobs over the year. Made a lot of pizzas in my day, and there were some corners being cut, and then there was also some payback. A rude customer. I'll never understand somebody walking into a pizza joint at midnight and bitching about anything.
It's food. You got to eat it.
You're asking a half-drunk 22-year-old musician to give you food, and you're yelling at them while ordering it? What do you just stick your tongue into a mousetrap? Why don't you? It's not going to end well for you. You're not going to you're going to get the pizza, but there'll be an extra thing or two on there. I'm just telling you.
Nasty.
These things happen. That's part of the plan. By the way, the other thing, and I didn't get fired for this, but I got yelled at. Back at the college bookstore, for some reason, the bookstore is where, well, not for some reason, but the bookstore is where you would go pick up your cap and gown for graduation. Mm-hmm. So the graduating, seniors would come in, and this is at Western Kentucky University. So you'd walk into the bookstore. My two brothers, Dave and Doug, they graduated at the same time because Dave took a break for a while and took a year and a half off. As it turns out, they're going to graduate together in the arena, big college graduation. They come into the bookstore to get their caps and gowns, and they left with those cords that you put around your neck that means summa cum laude because their brother said, take these, don't tell anybody. And so when the way they would do the graduation, they didn't call out by name all of the graduates. It's too many people, but they would say, the College of Arts and Sciences, for those students graduating with a 4.0 or better, the cream of the crop, the guy said, summa cum laude, stand and be acknowledged. And 38 people stand up, and two of them one's 6'5" and the other's 6'6", and they're right next to each other. And there's just polite applause. And then you hear from around the arena various people go, "Oh, come on!" Like anybody that knew either Doug or Dave Gorman was like, "What the hell is that?" And so in all their graduation photos, they've got the ribbon, it's like a big rope thing that you wrap around your neck like you're some sort of PhD or something. That was good stuff.
Put it on your resume while you're at it,
But the problem was, as I said, these guys are both really tall. And again, my bookstore manager, Tom, had been at graduation, and he goes, "Hey, so your brothers had some great careers here, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, they did really well." He goes, "You mean the brother who flunked out, took 2 years off, and came back to finish? He's summa cum laude?" I was like, "Look, man, I don't know how you just let me tell you something right now. I don't ever want to see that again." He was yelling at me. I was like, "Oh, crap. I can't believe I got busted." These things happen. But you know what? Every job you have is a chance to learn who you really are at the end of the day.
It really is. Here's Kevin on the KQ Facebook page. One more reason you should have been fired, but we're not. By the way, favorite band for Kevin, Boston. Favorite team, the Wild. He posted that. Delivering pizza for a fundraiser at an elementary school in Belle Plaine. Backed my truck up to the assigned door. Didn't see the exposed gas pipes and took out a gas line. Had to evacuate the school of about 100 kids. Called in the boys in blue, the fire trucks, the gas company. After 4 hours of digging while the gas was shooting out of the pipe, they were able to shut off the main air pipe. Not fired, though.
No.
And, a little extra pizza left over, I bet.
Well, sure. Yeah. No, I mean, you can't. It's hard to get good help. You know what I mean? I mean, most of those pizzas were delivered without threat of gas death.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
In Miami this week, Miami, Florida, a gentleman was walking through a parking garage and saw a fairly new Corvette, a very nice. Chevy makes a fine automobile in the Corvette. And he thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to steal this car. I'm going to get into this car, and I'm going to take it, by God. I am a car thief. I'm here to thieve cars. It's what I do. Don't question it. Just take the Corvette. Gets into the Corvette and discovered something that I didn't know until today. Corvettes have a new safety feature where if you go into a Corvette and you're not supposed to be in there, it can lock you in.
Yeah.
It can keep you there.
Wow.
The owner of the car walks back to his car, walks back later, and it's like, there's a dude in my car. And he pulls out his own phone and starts filming the would-be thief. It sounded a little bit like this.
My brother, this is not your car. This is my car. But why are you in my car? No, you can't get out because we calling the cops. He was able to break in the car, but that particular Corvette, if you're in the car and you don't have the keys, none of the electrical components will function. But little did he know that there's a manual door handle underneath the seat that, thank God he didn't know. Just be alert. When you're getting in and out of your car, be vigilant, be alert of your surroundings.
My brother, I love it. I just want to hear the beginning.
My brother, this is not your car. This is my car. But why are you in my car? No, you can't get out because we calling the cops.
What you don't hear the guy was saying, "Will you please let me out?" And the guy's going, "Just let me out, man. It's cool. You can keep the car." It's like, "Oh, I know I can keep the car. It's mine."
It looks like a raccoon in a live trap. You're not going to. We're calling the cops. You ain't going anywhere, brother.
I don't care how hardened you are as a car thief. When you're in that car and the guy who owns it is he got his camera out and he's like, "Brother, I'm calling." You're just like, "Oh no, I got to make sure no one finds out about this whatever joint I'm on my way to. I got to make sure they don't hear about this one."
Yeah.
That reminds me, we were out one day walking around as kids, what we used to call hoodin'.
Yeah.
We're going hoodin', which means you're just going to do vandalism, graffiti, whatever we get into, we get into.
Ding dong ditch.
Please, a classic. And so there was a kid named Jeff Peacock, and he found out there was some make of car. It was like a Honda Civic, something that everybody had overnight one day back in the late 70s. And he said, "Man, check this out." And he walked up to one and he put his hands on the driver's rearview mirror, and he just twisted it and it just came right off in his hands. He goes, "These these things are so, you just do this, and all of a sudden, boom, he had it. It just fell. He goes, and we're all like, "Oh my God, that's the funniest thing we've ever seen."
Yeah.
And so we then are on the prowl for another one of these cars to find. And there's another kid named Lindsay, and he was doing his best to fit in and be one of the cool bad kids. And so he was like, "I'm going to get the next one. I'm going to get the next one." And we walk up, and sure enough, within it's maybe 30 minutes later, we see another one of these cars. I wish I could remember the exact make, but. We're like, "Lindsay, there it is. Go get it." And it's dark. It's a Friday night, small town, dark. And he walks up to this car, and he goes, he puts his hands on it. And the kid, Jeff Peacock's like, "No, man, you got to twist it this way and then do this." And he's trying to coach him. And as Lindsay's trying to get it, it just won't come off. And as he's doing this, the window just comes down from the driver's seat.
Oh, no.
There's a guy sitting in the car, and the window comes down, and the only person who doesn't see it is the kid trying to get the mirror on. And the guy goes, "Yo, man, what are you doing?" And this kid, when he's got both hands on the rearview mirror, and when he heard that driver's voice go, "Yo, man, what are you doing?" He literally goes, "Ah!" He screamed the highest pitch, like he'd been caught in a bear trap. And he turned and ran.
Peed his pants a little, I bet.
I can remember having a very hard time running, just laughing that hard. It was just unbelievably funny. I just couldn't get
this
over
is
it.
not your car.
Exactly. It's the absolute best.
Oh, that's awesome.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
If you're at a movie theater, you might very well, and I don't know this, I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you go up and you say, "I'd like a large popcorn and some Raisinets and a Dr. Pepper." And then the person says, "Okay," and you put your credit card in there, and then it says, "Tip?"
Yeah.
How much do you want to tip? Because everywhere I go, I am being asked if I would like to add a tip. I bought at a store the other day some crackers, some hummus, some cheese, and some mixed nuts, and was asked if I wanted to tip. I picked these things off the shelf myself.
Right.
I walked up to the register. I set them down on the counter. The kid ran, scanned the barcodes, and then I was given an opportunity to tip him.
No, that's not. Tipping culture has, I don't know, jumped the shark. Is that an appropriate term? It's gotten out of control. It's
the
crazy.
guilt factor is excruciating.
And then the screen's going to ask you a question. Oh, is the screen going to ask me a question?
That's by the way, go ahead and say it. That's Starbucks. They gave them that line, and everybody uses it at Starbucks.
Yeah.
There's going to be a question. You'll be asked a question.
Right.
Really? Well, you're about to be asked a question.
I mean, service tipping actually started. You used to back when it first started early in the 20th century. You would tip before your meal, so that you would get prompt service.
To ensure good service?
Ensure good service. And not everyone got fed at every restaurant. Sometimes they ran out of food. So you'd be like, "Hey, could you make sure that I get some food? Here's a little money up front." Then it turned into a service industry tip. Here's how out of control it is. I ordered a couple of shirts, cheap shirts. Both of them cost less than $30 from a retail store online. So it wasn't Amazon.
Okay.
I bought something from someplace that wasn't Amazon and went through there, and then you've got your little shipping fee, and then it said, "Would you like to leave a tip?" What? and it gave me the 10, 15, 20, 25 option.
For who?
Right.
What?
For ordering a couple of shirts that you're going to, put an envelope and that I'm going to pay for the shipping. You want me to? It did. I said no tip. I said no. And then I thought, well, I hope the shirts come. That's how bad it's gotten.
An eighth of a penny of your tip will go to the sweatshop workers in Malaysia.
Right, exactly. That's why we have sweatshop workers in Malaysia, and we're outsourcing this crap so that we don't have to pay a tip on it.
I'm looking at, by the way, if you've got a tipping concern or comment, 651-989-ROCK, call or text. Here's one that came in. My dermatologist's office.
What?
Maybe she thinks she's running a spa. I'm not going to tip a doctor.
I mean, if there's a little happy ending, perhaps, Doc,
That's pretty rough.
Throw a 20 in the jar on the way out the door, but...
it's funny. The tipping thing, as it goes to restaurant servers, I get tied up sometimes. I forget. But if you go to, let's say we go to dinner, four or five people, you sit at a meal, there's a couple bottles of wine, a few cocktails. When you get the bill at the end of the night and it's like, $390, you're not supposed to factor in the cost of the booze, or are you? I've heard, no, it's just for the food.
Right.
Because the alcohol's so overpriced to begin with.
Yeah.
A bottle of wine costs 4 times more than at the store.
Massive markup.
And they say, no, people have said to me, no, when you're at a restaurant, you don't tip on the total, tip on, just remove the alcohol and tip on the rest. Have you heard that? Am I making that up?
You're not making
Is it
that
wishful
up.
thinking?
You're not making that up. I don't know if most people do that or not, but it's come up plenty of times.
Yeah.
I think that is proper protocol, I believe, to do that. I know not everyone does that. Not every time do I do it.
Or a little, or just a dollar per drink, or for a bottle of wine. You just throw a couple bucks to open it up and pour it, but it's not it's not 20% of or 15% of the cost of the wine.
Yeah.
Fun fact: get on the wagon for a while, and then tell me how much less you're spending at restaurants. When I did go, I stopped drinking at one point. I was like, hey, I'm going to take a little time. And then it turned into 2 years. I went from like 17, 18, 19, those years I wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how cheap it was to eat out.
No, right?
I mean, like literally, like, wow.
Yeah, I've done it a couple
I've
of
been
times.
spending a lot of money on alcohol.
And most of it's gone to alcohol. Absolutely. No, I've done the same thing. Ordered without alcohol and thought that I was getting away. Oh, they must have forgot to put the appetizer on there or something. No, it's...
I just got a text. It says, you're supposed to take off the tax, not the alcohol. I'm still confused. Maybe
there's a billion different rules.
Yeah.
This person has a rule. I've heard the other rule. Don't tip on the alcohol.
Maybe a little clarity will come in the form of a phone call, Tony.
You know what? It's so odd that you mentioned that. Matt from St. Paul Park has just materialized.
Matt, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. We're talking about tipping. I was at Target Field, and I asked the bartender. I tipped him on his little device, and I said, "Hey, by the way, do you even know? Do you even get to know how much a person tips?" And he says, "Not unless I print a receipt and I look at it." And I said, "Well, how do you know if you're making your money?" And he said, "I get it at the end of the night, and I get a little report." But I was shocked to find out that he didn't even know what button I pushed or whatever. I felt like I was really Costanza, and I needed to reach back into the jar.
Right? I mean, if you leave a fat tip, you want credit for it, right? You don't want to be just another button pusher. I'm like, dude, I left you a couple large on that one. But yeah, they don't, at the end of the night, it just comes in and they get to keep all their tips, because I also hear these things too. And you probably don't know this, Matt, that it all goes into the big pot and it's paid back out evenly amongst everyone. And, if I'm tipping for a particular service and I want to tip a little extra, I want it to go to that server.
Matt, while we still have you, what's your favorite band?
Foo Fighters.
Favorite team, any sport?
Twins.
Fair enough. Thanks for the call, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
He was at Target
I'm just going to
Field.
assume he saw them at Target Field. I mean, it's a perfect combination. Favorite band. My favorite band of my whole life was and will always be the Beatles. And my team, my longest standing sports affiliation, is the Baltimore Orioles. And a few years ago, I saw Paul McCartney at the Orioles Stadium, Camden Yards, and it was pretty emotional. I mean, I was like, all of a sudden, I'm like a kid listening to Beatles records, wearing Orioles swag, going, "Oh my God, this is actually happening." It was like this combination of childhood influences smashing.
You
It's
owe
pretty
Paul
great.
McCartney a tip.
I do owe him a tip, and here it is. Get a grief counselor and a prostitute next time your wife dies. It'll be a lot cheaper in the end. There's a tip for you, Paul. Boy, that was kind of harsh, wasn't it?
It's appropriate, I think.
I'm just saying. I feel bad for him. He went through a tough time and then made it worse on himself.
Yeah, he's the first man to ever have done that. What a fool. All right, here we're talking about tipping. See, now I think we would all agree that the oil change place, this person wrote, asked how much, not if, I wanted to tip. I hit 0.
Really?
They make you punch in the 0. That's it. There's going to be some backlash, Pretty soon the consumer is going to get so fed up that, we're going to start hitting 0. And the people then that should be getting the servers, that should be getting the tips, it's going to end up working against them.
But don't you think a good, speedy oil change, one that's done like quickly and, everything goes smoothly, is more valuable than like tipping at the cash register when you've put the items in the cart yourself? Like, I'd be cool with tipping for that before I am with tipping at the cash register.
That's why I pay $150 to get my freaking oil changed at the Quick Lube. Yeah, when did that get so expensive? Yeah, the quarts of oil in the truck. Yeah, do you got a guy?
I do.
Do I have to tip him?
No.
All right.
I tell you what I hate more than anything.
Never pet a burning dog. There's a tip.
You go to the car. You go to the car. Wow, that's good.
Sorry, Chauncey.
No. We can. It's not a real burning dog. I can appreciate this. I hate when I pay for the car wash and then add the tip on the receipt, and then you go to where they're drying your car, and you're like, oh, there's the box for cash tips. Damn it! But I don't want to look at them and go, I already put it on the check. I swear.
Right. No, Taylor putting her 2 college degrees to hard work, still serving and loving her jobs, by the way.
Sure.
But she would tell me, they prefer servers to be tipped in cash. So I'm like, well, now I've got some cash and I've got a card. I'm not going to carry all cash to pay for everything. And I tip with that. It gets a little tricky, but normally I don't have the cash to tip.
Connell my son had a summer job at a comedy club, server at the comedy club down in Nashville. He is first time ever doing that kind of work, and he had a great run of it, doing pretty well. A lot of money in tips.
Yeah.
The comedy fans, they get drunker and drunker and laugh harder and harder, and all of a sudden it's like, here you go, kid. And he said one of the other servers would full on, if somebody was leaving cash, they would pull out their phone and go, actually, could you Venmo it to me instead and show them his Venmo? I'll send you a link. And Connell's like, I just can't do that. I'm like, take the cash, dude. If someone's offering cash, trust me, you just take it. You just look like such a douchebag. The average person who's still tipping in cash does not want to Venmo you.
No.
I promise you, they don't want to go, oh, okay, let me adjust for you, kid, because you don't know how to handle a 20.
Right, take the cash.
Absolutely, completely insane. Here's a text. Lifelong server here. I would be unhappy if I was not tipped on bar drinks and wine. We tip the bartender out on a percentage of alcohol sales. I would be tipping them out of the other diners' tips and then short myself. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Learning.
You. Thank you. Because I appreciate that. We ask a question, we get some good answers. Do we have another call, Tony?
Yeah, lovely Meredith has a hard, fast rule on tipping.
Meredith, good morning.
Good morning.
Meredith, give me your favorite band of all time. Who is it?
U2. Seen them 8 times.
Wow, right on. Favorite team, any sport?
Long-suffering Vikings fan.
That a girl. Well, the Irish know all about pain, so that's a fine combination right there. Meredith, what do you got for us today?
Hard fast rule. Former server, bartender. Even to this day, I only tip cash. Only tip in cash.
All right.
Okay.
The reason why is I just have this issue about having to have all the individual servers pull their money at the end of the night, which I despised when I was serving and bartending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, the government doesn't need to know everything.
Meredith, there's a big kiss on my microphone to your ear. Mwah.
That's the way I think. Sorry.
No, you're not the only one. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for the call, Meredith.
The government doesn't need to know everything.
No.
Sorry, I stepped right on her goodbye there. Thank you, Meredith.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.
Cheers to 2025, and thanks for starting your new year with the best of the KQ Morning Show podcast, sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. We'll fire up a fresh batch of episodes Monday, January 6th.